Time now for us to check in with Nancy Cahalan at the Better Business Bureau and to make sure that we are safe from the scammers who are out there. You know, we're spending, I don't have to tell you, we're spending more and more time on social media. And so scammers come up with more and more ways to set some traps for us as consumers. Let's talk to Nancy Cahalan about that and about how it is that scammers use these social media platforms. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing okay, but I am definitely one of those who I can't help it. I on the one hand, Nancy, I always talk about social media and would we be better off without it, but I find myself spending more time on it, and social media seems to know exactly what it is that I want. They are constantly pitching me stuff.
Constantly. You know, they've come out with some new things like TikTok, and there are a few other new ones, but that doesn't mean we spend less time on the other ones.
Yeah,
I think
right,
we just
right.
add that in
Yeah.
to find room for that. Oh, that's silly. I won't spend so much time on that, but we do.
Exactly.
So, you know, the platforms themselves try to prevent bad actors from using them maliciously, but there are countless challenges to identifying who the scammers are and restricting their access. So the best defense for us is to understand how they use these popular platforms and what they plan on obtaining from us. So let's start with LinkedIn. It's a social media network designed for business networking. But fraud on this platform, you know, is a little bit different than on the others. A lot of times there are phony LinkedIn profiles created with all kinds of job histories, with well-known companies, fake degrees and credentials. You know, I have a LinkedIn platform. I don't remember anyone ever checking to make sure everything on mine was truthful and accurate. So this could be then used as part of an elaborate scam, you know, like a cryptocurrency scam or some kind of investment scam or a fake job scam where you're looking it up, you think you're doing your due diligence, and you see all this background. You say, "Oh, they're on the up and up." Well, they're not. So, so you gotta check the credentials if they're provided to you by LinkedIn, because that isn't really checked by anyone else.
Interesting, because I do
So,
spend more time on
yeah.
LinkedIn now, and but it's funny that you're saying all this, because of course one of the reasons that I'm spending a little bit more time on LinkedIn is because I think, oh, look at all these business people, and listen, I mean, I'm sure 99% are just fine, but I was spending some more time on LinkedIn because I thought, oh, this is a group of individuals who use LinkedIn. And look at all these master's degrees and doctorate degrees, and and entrepreneurial spirit, and all these businesses that they're founders of, and presidents of, and CEOs of. And now I don't know, some of the people who are telling me all the wonderful things they can do for my business, I might take a second look at them.
Yeah, you might want to just double check, especially if they've approached you, Hank. So that's the thing. The major goal for scammers using LinkedIn is to provide a false sense of security. They want to ask targets to trust them, and so they're giving them the credentials, so that they can trust them. And so if they've approached you, then I would just double check some of the points on there before you move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Facebook, I mean, that's one of the most widely used social media platforms, and scammers turn to Facebook to carry out a range of schemes. So a lot of them focus primarily on fraudulent purchases. So we've talked about them before: Facebook Marketplace or the community buy and sell groups. There's a lot of accounts on there that you order things, you don't get them, or you order something and it comes, like doll size or something. So you really need. That's when we looked at online purchase scams, the ones that started in social media, primarily Facebook, were ones that victimize more people. So you come across these things and you're like, isn't that clever? Oh, I need one of those. So you just have to be very careful. And you need to be careful how you pay as well. So we'll get into that later. So they also, when they compromise your account, so they wiggle in and get into your account somehow with, maybe you just have a password that says password or 1234, and they get in there. Now, what are they going to do once they're in there? You say, what could I lose? There's nothing of value in there. Well, your contact list is in there and your identity. So they send out messages to everyone on your contact list and claim to be you. And then they try to either do the same thing to others or, fabricate some kind of an emergency and ask for money. That's happened to people I know where I've gotten a message and it says they're in London and lost their wallet, and I'm like, really? But if they wouldn't keep doing it if it didn't work, right, Hank?
That's exactly it. Nope, they know. We think that all the time. Some of these that you tell us about, I go, who could possibly fall for that? And then I go, well, if somebody wasn't falling for it, they wouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. And because they're not mailing anything or driving to your house and knocking on your door, there's very little cost to entry here. They hit a button and the message goes out to millions, So there's very little cost to them, and it's a numbers game. The more people they reach out to, the more victims they'll get. So then we move on to Instagram, the baby brother of Facebook. And Instagram has a focus that's really on engaging content. But scammers use Instagram to showcase fabricated projects or results like fabulous weight loss. They phony up the before and after photos, or unethical contractors will steal photos from other recently completed reputable businesses and pass them off as their own. So you can't really believe what you see. We've always said one picture is worth 1,000 words, but you don't know where they got that picture. And so we've talked about that before. Use Google image search and search on that picture to try to make sure that it's authentic. It's really, in some cases, there are healthcare products or programs that they're trying to get a subscription-based purchase from you, where it's a low entry fee, but then they're going to hit you monthly, and they're also going to get your credit card information. So you have to be very, very careful when making purchases on any of these social media networks.
Yeah, and Instagram is huge, and you had mentioned TikTok before too.
Yes, and I think we've all heard there's concerns about TikTok. It's run from a different country that has different rules. There's a question about the security of our personal information. And, it's very engaging, especially for the youth. They really enjoy it and spend a lot of time on there. There's lots of video, and again, they're making promises probably of results from certain products, and or you make bundles of money by making some kind of investment, and these things aren't true. If it's too good to be true, it's not true. So, be very leery of fitness programs, guaranteed results of investments, things like that, when you're seeing them advertised on places like TikTok.
Yeah, and then
and Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's the big one.
Formerly known.
X, right.
Yeah. That's really impersonation is one of the most common tactics used here, and people that are on X generally are people that want to be heard. So scammers use that desire to direct victims to websites where there appears to be like a survey or something like that, where they can be heard, get their opinion out there. And, that information is either being used to crack into their security questions, or just increase the risk of identity theft. So you want to be mindful. You don't know these people that are on social media, and just be very careful. If a stranger came to your door and asked you for information, would you give it to them? No. So so don't do it on social media either.
All right. I mean, we have a minute or two left here. Just how do we avoid
Okay.
these scams?
Well, we talked about impersonation and compromised accounts. Be very wary of that. Any account can become compromised and used to disguise a scammer. So if you receive a private message from someone you know, think about the message. Is this something that they would send to me? It's out of the blue. It's kind of not their style. Why don't you reach out to them independent of social media and see if it's really from them, or has their account been compromised? Shop safely online. Use credit cards whenever possible to make purchases because there's protections built in there. Set your profiles to private. Scammers can use open source information, to help them narrow down answers to your security questions. So they use that. And be mindful of what you share. Don't share every bit of minutia of your life because it will be used against you. So
Absolutely. Nancy, it's so true. Nancy Cahalan, President, CEO, Better Business Bureau, serving Central and Western Mass, Northeastern Connecticut, bbb.org for more info, or give Nancy a call over on Grove Street right here in Worcester. We'll do it again next week. It is the talk of the Commonwealth on the Radio Worcester Network.